As a longtime Pokemon fan, it's been very, very upsetting seeing all the controversy surrounding Pokemon Sword and Shield, which was a game I was extremely hyped for and still am kind of moderately excited about playing, but I'll get into that in just a moment. So, it came out today that Sword and Shield has been reusing some assets from Sun and Moon and this claim that they had made in months back that they were cutting the Pokedex in half to remake the models and animations from scratch turned out to be a pretty blatant lie. And it really is, it's really disheartening coming from a developer like GameFreak, just because they're very near and dear to my heart. Pokemon has been a franchise that I've been in love with since I was probably 3 years old. It's the longest like franchise or the thing that I've been a fan of in my whole life, and I've bought every Pokemon game since, every generation of Pokemon game since Ruby and Sapphire, since Gen 3. So I was gonna get this game regardless, but seeing all this stuff that they lied about is making it sting a little bit to still purchase this game. I do fully intend on getting this game still because I want to review it and I want to experience it for my own, and I want to see if the things that they did cut out of this game really seal or break the deal, I don't feel like I'm going to hate this game regardless, because the national dex being in the game was never a huge issue for me because I was never a person that wanted to go through and catch every single Pokemon. I'm a bit of a completionist, but not to the degree that I want to catch 900 plus Pokemon, 1,000 plus, whatever the number's up to at this point. Oh god, there's so many. But I get that there is people out there that want to do that. So for Game Freak to just outright lie about this and to really just be very dishonest about it is such a slap in the face for dedicated fans of this franchise. So data miners found the models and animations from Sword and Shield, which turned out to be reused from Sun and Moon, and this goes completely against what Game Freak had said previously about cutting the decks to make brand new models from scratch and redoing the animations so that they were high quality. And I think honestly, at the end of the day, that's the thing I am most upset about, is that they lied about this. I feel like people were still going to be upset regardless that the national dex was not in this, but this is honestly a make or break for a lot of people, and they're justified in doing it. I've seen a lot of people today saying that they're canceling their pre-order for this game. I am really eager to see that regardless of all this cut stuff that's from the game, if the new things that they've implemented is going to make up for it. Nothing, on the other hand, is going to make up for Game Freak lying about this. So it's very, very important that you get this feedback out to them, but in a proper way. I've seen a lot of people just outright calling for Game Freak's head, and then there's a lot of people just being pretty much Game Freak apologists on this and accepting it, and I don't feel like either one of those are right. We really should let people know that we're not okay with this, and that you shouldn't be lying to your consumers, especially when you are this cherished as a company. It does not take long to destroy your reputation. Just look at what Bethesda has gone through over the past year or so. Look at what EA has gone through. It's very, very damaging to your brand to outright lie to your consumers and to your fans. I don't know why you wouldn't do this. Most people are accepting of game delays. Yes, it is disheartening and it is upsetting, but if a finished product is a lot better, what's the issue there? There's plenty of other games out there and available for you to play to hold you over in the meantime, so it's not that big of an issue, looking at it from a consumer point. Yes, it's going to be a little upsetting that you don't get the thing that you want sooner, but if the end result is a better product, that's what you should do. If you were having issues with the Switch's hardware and porting everything over and, just having trouble with the engine itself, just say that. Just say, hey, we need to delay the game. We've run into some issues that we don't know how to resolve at this time. We're trying to work on it and trying to get the best product that we can out to you. But outright just saying, oh, no, we're cutting all this and we're going to ship this out when we need it to because we're trying to do annual franchise releases now, which is, it's so upsetting to me. I really, annual franchises can be done, they can be done good in certain instances, but if the product is suffering, just delay the title. That ultimately, that's it. You would be better off, far better off, just delaying the game 5-6 months, a year, and have a rock solid masterpiece of a title than rushing it out half-baked and then receiving all the backlash that you're going to receive from it. I really, really don't like this notion of rushing content out. It seems more and more apparent that companies and developers are doing this and are constrained by higher ups in the business or something like that to really just shill out content as fast as humanly possible. Nintendo has always been kind of the opposite of that, which is why this is so just kind of alarming for me that this seems to be the course that GameFreak took with it. Maybe it's people within the Pokemon company, maybe it's GameFreak themselves. I'm not quite sure, where the power rankings are there and who makes all this, but look at Animal Crossing. It got delayed till next year so that they can, finish the product and give their workers a good quality of life. Look at Breath of the Wild. Same instance. The game was delayed for 2 years so that they could get it done right. I don't understand why the same couldn't be done in this instance. If the game didn't have all the Pokemon in it, didn't have the full Pokedex, if you're touting and saying that you're going to remake the models and redo the animations or make them as good as they possibly could be and make them really fantastic, you need to do that. You don't need to just cut corners and say these things and then not deliver on it, because ultimately it destroys your reputation, it damages your brands, and it turns longtime fans of the franchise away. I've seen many Reddit posts today of people saying that they've been fans for 20 years since the franchise started, since Red and Blue, that would never buy a Pokemon game again. And that is insane to me. That you could fuck up that bad to where you're turning people that have been franchise long fans, you're turning them away and running them away from your content for the future. I don't understand this mindset. I just wish that it's not on par with Nintendo's quality and their standards, because Shigeru Miyamoto has the quote of, a rush game is bad forever, a delayed game is good, a bad game is bad, a delayed game is eventually good, a bad game is bad forever, or whatever it is, And for this kind of thing to happen with a $90 billion company, a $90 billion franchise, is asinine to me. I don't understand that. It makes no sense to me how you can have that big of a budget. You have basically all the time in the world to put this out, because you're making all that money. Why would you not delay the game? Like, there is other avenues of it. We've seen the success of the movies, of the mobile games, of just the merchandise in general. Pokemon is a household name now. It is internationally known, and no matter who you talk to, they will know at least one Pokemon. They will know who Pikachu is. I mean, it's a worldwide phenomenon, and you have the leniency, to take your time and fully make a product good. And that kind of plays into some of the graphical infidelity and stuff that's in the game as well, which I've watched a few reviews today, and still overall the game does look outstanding in most instances. And it's just the wild area seems to be the most consistent area that's really having, graphical issues and stuff like that. But honestly, that's not too much of an issue for me personally, because I play Pokemon for the Pokemon. Sure, good graphics are fucking great, and it feels like that's where the series needs to go. But, graphics aren't a deal breaker for me. As long as it's playable and it still looks fairly decent, I'm not going to be upset at a few low-res trees and people just popping in underpopulated cities. But there are people that are, and those are legitimate gripes, because you are a company with a $90 billion budget and all the time in the world to make this game as good as possible. So it's just, why would you have not delayed the game? Why would you have not delayed the game? I'm still going to buy Sword, and I know I'm probably going to catch a lot of shit for that, but, you know, all this aside, I don't like judging games purely on preconceived notions ahead of release. I want to play the game, and I want to see if it still holds up for me personally. I understand that a lot of people aren't going to like that, and that a lot of people aren't going to have that same kind of viewpoint, but there might be some things in there that justify the cut content that they may have had to do. I don't know. I haven't played it yet. Ultimately, the thing that most upsets me about this is that they lied. And, you know, that's not going to turn me away from the franchise necessarily, but it has for a lot of people. And I really hope that the feedback that they have seen on this is constructive enough to where they realize that it's not an acceptable thing to lie to the fan base. On the other hand, I do need to say that outright calling for their heads and attacking the individual developers that are on the ground level, so to say, is not an okay thing to do. You know, these decisions are probably led by the higher ups, and it's not okay to just outright attack everyone at GameFreak. You know, saying GameFreak as a whole, you know, lumps everyone individually together, but just know when I'm saying GameFreak that I'm talking about the higher-ups and the decision makers, not the individual developers who are just doing their jobs. And I feel like people need to remember that when they are criticizing this, and that they're not just calling for, you know, people who had no say in this matter, not calling for their heads. It's also very important for people to not be apologists on this, you know. They need to realize that they fucked up, and that what Masuda said and that he lied about is not an okay thing to do, and it needs to be heard. I don't feel like it's so hard to kind of come at this from like a middle point, because so much of my Pokemon fandom really wants to enjoy this game and accept it for what it is and just have fun and play Pokemon, because it's a franchise that I've long been a fan of. But on the other hand, you know, you have to call out this kind of bullshit, because you will be taken advantage of if you don't. Just look at Bethesda and what they did and what they're seemingly continuing doing. But, you know, that's a whole nother can of worms to unravel and open up. I think it's important that people know that the whole story, and that people realize that Game Freak was not 100% honest with us, and that is a bad thing. If you're still excited for the game, buy it, enjoy it, you know, experience it for what it is. And if you're not going to buy it, you know, leave it at that. You know, it can get your constructive criticism out there to Game Freak. Let them know how this is bad and how they can improve. Don't attack other people that are going to enjoy this game, though. You know, people are all going to make the argument that if you buy this game, you're supporting this kind of behavior. This game is going to sell regardless. And that's the thing people need to realize, is that this is still going to be one of the biggest Switch titles this year regardless, because there's a huge portion of the Switch fan base and viewer base out there, or consumer base, that don't tie in and don't really follow this stuff as closely. You know, sure, there's probably going to be a big enough dent to where it's going to be noticeable, but it's still going to sell. So for the people that are still like super into it and don't care about all this, that's, you know, it's their money. Let them do what they want with it. If they are going to enjoy the game regardless, you know, let them do it. All right. They have just as much right to enjoy the game, just as much as you have a right to, you know, complain about the game and say that it's bad. I'm kind of stuck in the middle there somewhere, because I really want to enjoy this game, but it's hard for me to kind of let go of the fact that Game Freak lied. But yeah, anyways, that's going to do it for this video, guys. I know it's kind of rambly and ranty, and I haven't really done one of these like firing from the hip videos in quite a minute, but you know, who knows? I plan on live streaming Pokemon, so we'll see. I want to do a review for it, so you know, we'll see what my nitty-gritty thoughts are on it, probably within a week or two's time. But anyways, thanks so much for watching this, guys. Follow me on all my socials. Links will be down in the description. Subscribe if you would like to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching my subpar shitty content, and I will see you in the next one.